The morning that changed everything, Jonelle Brooks pushed through the revolving doors of Blake Technologies at exactly 6:15 a.m., her cleaning cart rattling softly across the polished marble floor. The 60-story building gleamed in the early morning darkness, its glass exterior reflecting the city lights like 1,000 tiny stars. She had worked for Premier Cleaning Services for almost 4 years now, and this particular assignment had become routine. Get in early, finish before the executives arrive, stay invisible. That was the unspoken rule of her profession. She checked her assignment sheet one more time. Floor 58, Executive Suite. Her supervisor had emphasized the importance of this job. The top floor housed the office of Cameron Blake himself, the 35-year-old tech genius who had built his company from a garage, a startup to a billion-dollar empire in less than a decade. Jonelle had never met him, only seen his face in business magazines scattered throughout the building's waiting areas. Sharp features, intense green eyes, and an expression that suggested he could read your thoughts if given half a chance. Schedule gone wrong. The elevator climbed swiftly, and Jonelle reviewed her mental checklist. The executive suite required special attention. Every surface had to shine, every detail perfect. She had learned to take pride in her work, even if nobody noticed. Her mother Rita had taught her that dignity came from doing your best, regardless of whether anyone was watching. That lesson had carried Jonelle through countless difficult shifts, and even harder life circumstances. The elevator doors opened with a soft chime. Jonelle wheeled her cart onto the plush carpet, noting the silence that filled these upper floors. Down in the lobby, security guards chatted, and coffee machines hummed. But up here, everything felt suspended in time. She pulled out her master key card and began with the conference room, methodically wiping down the massive glass table that could seat 20 people. Through the windows, she watched the sun beginning its slow climb over the city skyline after finishing the conference room and main office area. Jonelle noticed a door she had somehow missed on previous visits. It was tucked behind a decorative screen, barely visible. Curiosity pulled at her, though she knew better than to explore areas outside her assignment. But something about the door seemed off. Had it always been there? She checked her watch. Still plenty of time before anyone arrived. The discovered Jonelle approached the door, tested the handle. Unlocked. She pushed it open and gasped. The space beyond was stunning, far more luxurious than anything she had seen before. Cream-colored marble covered the floors and walls, shot through with veins of gold. Enormous bathtubs sat by floor-to-ceiling windows, offering a breathtaking view of the city below. And in the corner, behind frosted glass panels, stood a shower that looked like something from an exclusive spa. She noticed a small water spot on the glass shower door. Her professional instincts kicked in immediately. Just a quick wipe, she thought, and everything would be perfect. Jonelle set down her supplies and approached with her microfiber cloth. She was reaching for the spot when she heard it. The unmistakable sound of running water. Her heart stopped. The shower was occupied, but that was impossible. Her schedule clearly stated that Mr. Blake arrived at 7:30 a.m. She glanced at her watch. It was only 6:45. Someone had changed the schedule without telling her face to face. The water shut off abruptly. Jonelle froze, her mind racing through possibilities. She could leave quietly, pretend she was never there. But her cart was still in the main office. Before she could decide, the frosted glass door slid open. Cameron Blake stepped out, water droplets still clinging to his skin. His dark hair was slicked back, and his green eyes widened in surprise when he saw her standing there. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, neither of them moved. Jonelle felt heat rush to her face, her professional composure completely shattered. "I am so incredibly sorry," she stammered, backing toward the door. "The schedule said 7:15. I thought you wouldn't be here yet. I should not have come in here. Please forgive me." Cameron grabbed a towel from a nearby rack and wrapped it around his waist, but his expression was not angry. Instead, he looked almost amused. "The schedule," he repeated slowly. "I changed it this morning. Early meeting with investors in Tokyo? You work for Premier Cleaning?" "Yes, sir." Jonelle Brooks. "I've been cleaning this floor for 3 months. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. This was it. She would be fired. The job that paid for her mother's medications and kept their tiny apartment would disappear because of one terrible moment of bad timing. An unexpected conversation 3 months. Cameron tilted his head, studying her with those intense green eyes. And I have never seen you before now. That's the point of good cleaning service, Janelle replied, some of her composure returning. We finish before you arrive. You're not supposed to know we exist. Something shifted in his expression. That seems like a lonely way to work. Existing, but not being seen. He moved to a closet and pulled out a robe, turning his back to put it on. How do you know I am Cameron Blake? I could be anyone. You're on the cover of Technology Today in your waiting room, Janelle said, then immediately regretted it. That sounded like she had been studying him. Cameron turned back around, now properly covered, and to her complete surprise, he smiled. Not the polished business smile from magazine covers, but something genuine and warm. Fair enough. And you noticed a water spot on my shower door from across the room. That's impressive attention to detail. It's the question that changed things. It's my job to notice, Janelle replied, relaxing slightly. He was not calling security or her supervisor. In fact, he seemed almost interested in talking to her. Everything should be perfect. Perfect, Cameron repeated thoughtfully. He leaned against the marble counter, seemingly in no hurry to rush her out. Do you believe in perfection, Janelle Brooks? The question caught her off guard. I believe in doing your best with what you have. Perfection might not exist, but excellence does. Cameron nodded slowly, something like respect flickering across his features. That is a wise answer. Tell me something. Why are you cleaning offices at 6 in the morning instead of doing something else? You speak well. You clearly pay attention to details. This cannot be your dream career, Janelle hesitated. Personal questions from clients were unusual, especially from someone like Cameron Blake. But something about the way he asked, with genuine curiosity rather than pity, made her answer honestly. My mother has multiple sclerosis, she said quietly. The medications are expensive. This job has decent pay, and the schedule works around her medical appointments. Dreams are great, but bills come first. The moment she said it, she worried she had overshared. But Cameron's expression softened in a way that seemed almost painful. My father had MS, he said after a long pause. He passed away when I was 17. I remember the medications, the appointments, the way it slowly took pieces of him away. I am sorry you are going through that. An impossible offer. Janelle felt tears prick her eyes but blinked them away. Thank you. I should really go. Again, I apologize for interrupting your morning. Cameron said as she turned toward the door. I have a proposition. My executive assistant quit last week. The position pays $90,000 a year with full health benefits. Your mother's treatments would be completely covered. Would you be interested? Janelle turned back slowly, certain she had misheard. You want me to be your assistant? Based on what? The fact that I clean your office? Based on the fact that you noticed a water spot from across the room? Based on how you speak about doing your best with what you have? Based on instinct? He crossed his arms, studying her. I have hired 5 assistants in 3 years. All of them had impressive resumes and excellent references. None of them lasted more than 6 months because they only saw my position and my money. You saw a water spot that needed cleaning. That tells me you actually care about doing things right. This is crazy, Janelle said, though her heart was pounding. You don't know anything about me? I know you care for your mother. I know you show up early and work hard. I know you can handle awkward situations with grace. He smiled slightly. And I know you are not impressed by my money or my title, which honestly makes you perfect for the job. Think about it. Talk to your mother. Here's my card. Call me with your answer. He pulled a business card from his robe pocket and handed it to her. Their fingers brushed briefly, and Janelle felt a spark of something she could not name. She looked down at the card, then back up at Cameron Blake, the man who had just offered to change her entire life. Why are you really doing this? She asked quietly. Cameron met her eyes steadily. Because I am tired of being surrounded by people who only see what I have instead of who I am. You walked in here and apologized sincerely for a schedule mistake, That was not your fault. That kind of honesty is rare. I would rather invest in that than another polished resume. Janelle clutched the card, her mind spinning with possibilities and fears. I need time to think. Take all the time you need, Cameron said gently. But Janelle, whatever you decide, do not let fear make the choice for you. Trust yourself enough to take a chance. As Janelle left the executive suite, her cleaning cart forgotten in her shock, she realized that everything had just changed. The question was whether she was brave enough to embrace it. A. Daughter's decision. Danelle sat at the small kitchen table in their modest apartment, turning Cameron Blake's business card over and over in her hands. The evening light filtered through the thin curtains, casting soft shadows across the worn linoleum floor. Her mother, Rita, sat across from her, wrapped in a faded blue blanket, despite the warm temperature. The illness had made her sensitive to cold. Just one of many ways it had stolen pieces of the vibrant woman she used to be. You've been staring at that card for 20 minutes, Rita said, her voice soft but still carrying that teacher's tone she had never quite lost. Are you going to tell me what happened, or do I have to guess? Janelle took a deep breath and told her everything. The accidental encounter, the conversation, the impossible job offer. As she spoke, she watched her mother's face carefully, looking for signs of concern or disapproval. Instead, Rita's eyes grew brighter with each detail. $90,000, Rita repeated slowly when Janelle finished. With full health coverage? Baby, do you understand what that means? You could stop working yourself to exhaustion. You could actually have a life. It feels wrong, Janelle admitted. Like I'm getting something I don't deserve. He doesn't even know if I can do the job. What if I fail? What if it's all some kind of mistake? Rita reached across the table and took her daughter's hand, her grip weak but determined. Listen to me carefully. I have watched you sacrifice everything for me these past 5 years. Your 20s, your dreams, your chance at happiness. You never complain, never ask for anything. But Janelle, I did not raise you to be afraid of opportunities. I'm not afraid, Janelle protested weakly. Yes, you are. You're terrified of hoping for something better because you think it will be taken away. But sweetheart, what if this is real? What if this man saw something in you that you can't see in yourself yet? Rita squeezed her hand. Call him. Take the chance. If it doesn't work out, you'll figure it out like you always do. But don't let fear steal this from you. The first day, 3 days later. Janelle stood outside Blake Technologies wearing a navy dress she had bought from a discount store. It was simple but professional, and she had practiced walking in the matching low heels at home until her feet ached. Her hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and she carried a notebook and pen because she had no idea what else to bring. Cameron was waiting for her in the lobby. Surprised her. She had expected to be directed to his office by a receptionist. Instead, he stood near the security desk in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent, smiling when he saw her approach. Janelle, he said warmly, I'm glad you called. Welcome to Blake Technologies. Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Blake, she replied formally, very aware of the security guards and early morning employees watching them. Cameron, he corrected gently, at least when we're not in formal meetings. Come on, I'll show you your office and we can go over everything. Her office turned out to be a bright, windowed space adjacent to Cameron's, with a glass desk, a new computer, and a view that made her breath catch. She could see halfway across the city from here. Everything was pristine, waiting for her to make it her own. This is incredible, she whispered. Cameron stood in the doorway, his expression pleased. You'll spend a lot of time here, so it should be comfortable. Your computer is set up with all the access you'll need. I've loaded the calendar software with my current schedule. We'll go through everything together, but the main job is simple. Keep me organized. Filter what needs my immediate attention from what can wait, and be honest with me when you think I'm making a mistake. Learning to fly first week was overwhelming. Janelle quickly discovered that being an executive assistant required juggling a dozen tasks simultaneously while making it look effortless. She managed Cameron's calendar, which was a complex puzzle of meetings, conference calls, and corporate events. She fielded emails, separating urgent matters from routine correspondence. She sat in on meetings, taking notes in a shorthand system She learned from online videos during her lunch breaks. Through it all, Cameron remained patient. When she accidentally scheduled 2 important calls at the same time, he calmly rearranged one without complaint. When she struggled to understand the technical jargon in a product development meeting, he took time afterward to explain until it made sense. He was demanding, expecting excellence, but never cruel. And slowly Janelle began to find her rhythm. Nina Foster,
Ow.
her friend from the cleaning service, called her during the second week. "Girl, you have to tell me everything. One day you're pushing a mop, the next day you're working for Cameron Blake. How did this even happen?" Janelle laughed, switching her phone to her other ear as she reviewed Cameron's schedule for the following week. "Honestly, Nina, I'm still not sure myself. It feels like I'm living someone else's life. Is he treating you okay? I mean, really okay? Because rich guys can be weird about boundaries." "It's been nothing but professional," Janelle assured her, and it was true. Cameron maintained proper distance, never making her uncomfortable. Yet she couldn't deny the way her heart sped up when he smiled at her, or how she found herself paying attention to small details about him. The way he drummed his fingers on his desk when he was thinking, how he always offered her coffee before taking his own, the rare moments when his business mask slipped and she glimpsed something vulnerable underneath. The late-night conversation 3 weeks into her new position. Janelle stayed late to help Cameron prepare for a crucial board meeting. The office had emptied hours ago, leaving them alone with the city lights glittering through the windows. They had been reviewing financial projections for so long that the numbers were starting to blur together. "Let's take a break," Cameron said suddenly, pushing back from his desk. "My brain is turning to mush." Janelle set down her tablet gratefully. "I was starting to think you didn't need breaks like normal humans." He laughed, the sound warm and genuine. "I'm very human. I just hide it well in public." He walked to the windows, hands in his pockets. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Sure," Janelle replied, joining him at the window but maintaining a careful distance. "Do you miss your old job? The cleaning work?" He glanced at her. "I mean, this has to be a huge adjustment." Janelle considered the question honestly. "I don't miss the physical exhaustion or the way people looked through me like I was furniture. But there was something simple about it. Show up, clean, go home. This job requires me to think constantly, to anticipate problems before they happen. It's terrifying and exciting at the same time." "You're doing remarkably well," Cameron said quietly. "Better than any assistant I've had. You actually care about the details, not just about impressing me. Is that what the others did? Try to impress you?" He nodded, constantly. It was exhausting. They saw the position as a stepping stone or a way to get close to money and connections. You see it as actual work that matters. That's refreshing. Janelle felt heat rise in her cheeks at the compliment. "I just try to do my best." "I know. That's what makes you special." Cameron turned to face her fully, and suddenly the space between them felt charged with something new. "Janelle, I need to be honest with you about something." Her heart began to race. "Okay, this is going to sound completely inappropriate, and I apologize in advance, but I can't stop thinking about you." The words came out in a rush, as if he had been holding them back for too long. "Not as my assistant. As a person, you're intelligent, kind, dedicated. You make me laugh, and I find myself looking forward to coming to work in a way I haven't in years. Not because of business, but because you'll be here." Janelle's breath caught. She knew she should step back, maintain professional distance, protect her job and her mother's insurance. But her heart was pounding so hard she could barely think straight. "Cameron, I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," he replied quickly. "I just needed you to know. I understand if this makes things awkward. I understand if you want to maintain strict professional boundaries. I won't pressure you or make you uncomfortable. But I also couldn't keep pretending I only see you as an employee when the truth is so much more complicated." Crossing the Janelle's mind raced through 1,000 thoughts at once. This was her boss. Her job was at stake. Her mother's healthcare depended on this position. Every logical part of her brain screamed that she should politely decline and step away. But when she looked at Cameron, she didn't see the CEO or the billionaire. She saw the man who had taken a chance on her, who treated her with respect, who stayed late to make sure she understood complex concepts. She saw someone who was as lonely as she was, hiding it behind success and responsibilities. "Can I tell you something?" she asked softly. "Anything?" "I think about you too. More than I should." More than is probably smart. The admission felt like jumping off a cliff. "When I'm home at night, I replay our conversations. When I'm getting ready in the morning, I wonder what you'll be wearing. And when you smile at me, really smile, not the business smile, I feel like I can breathe easier." Cameron's expression transformed, hope and relief flooding his features. "So I'm not crazy?" "We might both be crazy," Janelle said with a shaky laugh. "This could end terribly. Office relationships are complicated. There's a power imbalance. People will talk. I know. All of that is true." He took a careful step closer. "But I also know that I haven't felt this way about anyone in longer than I can remember. And if there's even a chance that this could be something real, I want to try. But only if you do too. Only if you want this, not because you feel pressured or obligated." Janelle looked up at him, seeing the vulnerability in his eyes. Here was a man who commanded boardrooms and made million-dollar decisions without hesitation. And he was nervous about her answer. That realization made her choice clear. "I want to try," she whispered. "I'm scared, but I want to try." The smile that spread across Cameron's face was worth every risk. "Then we'll figure it out together. We'll take it slow. We'll be professional at work. And if at any point you want to stop, we stop. No questions, no consequences for your job. Deal." "Deal." He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. When she didn't, his hand cupped her cheek gently. "Can I kiss you?" Instead of answering, Janelle closed the distance between them and pressed her lips to his. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, both of them aware of the enormous line they were crossing. But then Cameron's arms wrapped around her and she leaned into him, and the kiss deepened into something that felt inevitable. Like coming home after a long journey, when they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Cameron rested his forehead against hers. "That was worth waiting for," Janelle laughed breathlessly. "We've only known each other 3 weeks. Longest 3 weeks of my life," he replied, making her laugh again. The new reality, they did try to take it slow. At work, they maintained professional distance. Though Janelle caught him watching her sometimes with an expression that made her stomach flip. After hours, they met for quiet dinners at small restaurants where they wouldn't be recognized, talking for hours about everything and nothing. Cameron shared stories about building his company from scratch, about the pressure of living up to expectations, about feeling isolated at the top. Janelle told him about her mother's diagnosis, about putting her dreams on hold, about the fear of losing the person she loved most. "What were your dreams?" Cameron asked one evening as they walked through a park after dinner. "Before everything changed?" Janelle hesitated. She hadn't talked about this in years. "I wanted to write. Stories? Maybe novels. I filled notebooks with characters and plots. It probably sounds silly. It doesn't sound silly at all." Cameron took her hand as they walked. "Why did you stop?" "Life happened. Mom got sick. Bills piled up. Writing doesn't pay the rent." She shrugged, trying to sound casual. "Dreams are nice, but reality wins." "What if reality could include dreams?" Cameron stopped walking and turned to face her. "What if you had time and resources? Would you want to try again?" "I don't know," Janelle admitted. "I'm not sure I remember how to want things for myself anymore." Cameron pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her. "Then we'll figure that out too. Together. You've spent so long taking care of everyone else. Let someone take care of you for once." Standing there in his embrace, the city humming around them, Janelle allowed herself to believe it might be possible. Maybe she could have both the security she needed and the connection she craved. Maybe taking a risk on Cameron Blake was the best decision she had ever made. But in the back of her mind, a small voice whispered that things this good never lasted. And she wondered how long it would be before reality caught up with them. When whispers become shouts 2 months into their relationship, Janelle began to notice the looks. Coworkers who had previously ignored her now watched with curious eyes when she and Cameron emerged from his office after meetings. The marketing director, a sharp woman named Patricia, who had worked at Blake Technologies for a decade, started asking pointed questions about how Janelle had gotten promoted so quickly. It'd be nice to have such a direct line to the boss. Patricia commented one morning in the break room, her tone sugary sweet with an edge of acid underneath. Janelle kept her expression neutral as she poured her coffee. I work hard. Same as everyone else here. Of course you do, honey. Patricia's smile didn't reach her eyes. I'm sure your qualifications are very impressive. Even if they're not exactly traditional, Nina called that evening, her voice tight with concern. Janelle, people are talking. About you and Cameron Blake. One of my cleaning crews said they saw you two at a restaurant last week. Are you dating your boss? Janelle sat down heavily on her couch, exhaustion washing over her. It's complicated, Nina. Complicated how? Girl, you could lose everything. What about your mama's insurance? What happens when this goes bad? Why does everyone assume it will go bad? Janelle snapped, then immediately regretted her tone. I'm sorry. I'm just tired of people acting like I don't deserve good things. Nina's voice softened. I know you deserve good things. I'm worried because rich men don't usually have serious relationships with women who used to clean their offices. They have fun, then they move on, and the woman gets hurt. Cameron isn't like that. I hope you're right, Nina said quietly. I really do. Just promise me you're being careful. The storm arrives the following week. Cameron called an emergency meeting with his board of directors. Janelle sat in her office reviewing correspondence when Derek Shaw, Cameron's business partner, stopped by her door. Derek was older than Cameron by 15 years, with silver hair and a perpetual expression of cautious calculation. Janelle, can we talk for a moment? He asked, his tone carefully neutral. Of course, Mr. Shaw. Come in. Derek closed the door behind him and sat down across from her desk. I'm going to be direct because I respect you too much to dance around the subject. Your relationship with Cameron is becoming a problem. Janelle's stomach dropped, but she kept her voice steady. I'm not sure what you mean. Please don't insult either of our intelligence. The board has received concerns from multiple employees about the nature of your relationship with the CEO. There are questions about whether your position was earned or granted for other reasons. These questions create liability for the company. I do my job well, Janelle said firmly. Cameron can confirm that. I'm sure he would, but that's precisely the issue. His judgment about you may be compromised. Derek leaned forward. I actually like you, Janelle. I think you're smart and capable, but this situation puts Cameron in a difficult position. The board is pressuring him to make changes. What kind of changes? Either end the personal relationship or reassign you to a different department. Possibly even let you go. Derek's expression was sympathetic, but unyielding. I'm telling you this as a warning. The board meeting is happening now. You should prepare yourself for difficult conversations. The choice that matters. After Derek left, Janelle sat frozen at her desk, her mind spinning. She had known this was coming, had felt it building like a storm on the horizon. But knowing and experiencing were two different things. Her phone buzzed with a text from Cameron, meeting running long. Don't worry. We'll talk after. But Janelle was already worrying. She thought about her mother at home, about the medications that kept her comfortable, about the physical therapy that was slowly giving her back some mobility. She thought about how hard she had worked these past months to prove herself, to show that she belonged in this world. And she thought about Cameron, about the way he looked at her like she was the most important person in his universe. The office door opened, and Cameron walked in. His expression grim. We need to talk. Janelle stood up, her heart pounding. What did the board say? They want you gone. Or they want us to end this. Cameron ran a hand through his hair in frustration. Derek presented concerns about workplace dynamics and potential liability. 3 board members threatened to call for a vote of no confidence in my leadership if I don't address the situation. Then we end it, Janelle said quickly, even as the words tore at her heart. I can't be the reason you lose your company. No, Cameron's voice was firm. I didn't build this company to have other people tell me how to live my life. And I'm not going to let them bully you out of a position you've earned. Cameron, be realistic. I'm replaceable. Your company isn't. He crossed the room and took her hands in his. You are not replaceable to me, and I'm tired of living my life according to what other people think is acceptable. I've made a decision. What decision? I'm restructuring the company. Derek has wanted to be CEO for years. I'm going to give him that position and step into a chairman role. That removes the direct reporting relationship between us. You'll still be my assistant, but technically, you'll report to the coup, not to me. It addresses the board's concerns about impropriety while allowing us to continue working together. Janelle stared at him in shock. You're stepping down as CEO? Because of me? I'm restructuring to focus on what actually matters. I've been so buried in day-to-day operations that I've lost sight of why I started this company in the first place. As chairman, I can focus on innovation and long-term strategy. Derek handles the business operations, which he's better at anyway, and you stay exactly where you belong. The board will still talk. People will still assume things. Cameron smiled. Let them talk. I've spent my whole life caring too much about what people think. But here's what I know for certain. You walked into my life by accident and turned everything upside down. You made me remember what it feels like to be seen as a person instead of a position. You made me want to be better, not for the company, but for myself. I'm not giving that up because some board members are uncomfortable. Love and truth tears spilled down Janelle's cheeks. This is too much. You're sacrificing too much. I'm not sacrificing anything. I'm choosing what's important. Cameron wiped away her tears gently. But Janelle, I need you to understand something. This only works if you choose it to. Not because you feel obligated or guilty, but because you genuinely want this. Do you? Janelle thought about everything that had happened since that morning she walked into his bathroom. The fear, the uncertainty, the way her life had transformed in ways she'd never imagined possible. She thought about how Cameron made her feel valued and seen, how he encouraged her to dream again, how he supported her through her mother's bad days without complaint, how he had become her best friend and her partner in ways that went far beyond romance. I choose this, she said firmly. I choose you. Not because of the job or the money or any of that, because you make me happy. Because when I'm with you, I feel like the best version of myself. Because I love you. It was the first time either of them had said those words. Cameron's eyes widened, then filled with an emotion so intense it took her breath away. Say that again, he whispered. I love you, Cameron Blake. I love your ridiculous inability to cook. I love how you listen when I talk about my mother. I love the way you care about your employees and your company. I love that you're willing to restructure your entire professional life because you refuse to choose between your career and your heart. I love you. Cameron pulled her into his arms and kissed her deeply, pouring everything he felt into that connection. When they finally broke apart, both were crying. I love you too, he said against her hair. I have for weeks, but I was afraid to say it. Afraid you would think I was moving too fast or that I was being manipulative. But it's true. I love you, Janelle Brooks, and I want to build a life with you if you'll let me. A new beginning. 3 weeks later, the restructuring was complete. Derek Shaw became CEO with Cameron's full support and blessing. Cameron moved into a chairman position that allowed him to work on the projects he was passionate about without the crushing weight of daily operations. Janelle transitioned smoothly into her new reporting structure, though everyone knew she was still Cameron's right hand. The office gossip continued for a while, but gradually faded as people realized their relationship wasn't some scandalous affair, but a genuine partnership. Janelle proved herself repeatedly through excellent work, and eventually even Patricia grudgingly admitted she did her job well. Rita's health improved with the better medical care Janelle's insurance provided. She started painting again, a hobby she had abandoned after her diagnosis. When Cameron visited their apartment for Sunday dinners, Rita treated him like family, teasing him about his terrible cooking and asking pointed questions about his intentions toward her daughter. I intend to marry her, Cameron answered honestly one evening, making Janelle choke on her water. If she'll have me, when the time is right. Rita smiled knowingly. Good answer?
'Pass.
6 months after that impossible morning encounter, Janelle sat at her desk working on correspondence when Cameron appeared in her doorway. "I have something for you," he said. Holding out a wrapped package, Janelle opened it carefully and gasped. Inside was a beautiful leather-bound journal, the kind real writers used, along with an expensive pen. "You said you used to write stories," Cameron explained. "I thought maybe you could start again. No pressure, no expectations. Just you and your imagination whenever you have time and feel inspired." Janelle ran her fingers over the smooth leather, emotions welling up. "Thank you for this. For everything. For seeing me when I was invisible." "You were never invisible to me," Cameron said softly. "From the very first moment, you were all I could see," as Janelle looked at the journal in her hands and the man standing before her. She realized that sometimes the best stories begin with accidents and impossibilities. Sometimes love finds you in the most unexpected places, in the most unexpected ways. And sometimes, when you're brave enough to take a risk on something that scares you, you discover that you deserve every good thing that comes your way. She opened the journal to the first blank page and smiled. It was time to start writing her own story, one that began with a cleaning shift and ended with a love that transformed everything. And this time, she knew exactly how the story would go because she was living it. One beautiful, imperfect, perfect day at a time.